Support. Give me a subscribe. Help me hit 300 subs by Halloween, and I'll do something spooky. You know what's in the air? The apocalypse. Yeah, that's right. It's time to take a look at this baby. This just showed up in the mail today. Mutant Year Zero from Free League. I've been trying for months to get this, but apparently it is out of print. Very difficult to find. I had to go on Amazon and order it from a bookstore and blah, blah, blah. And it took me like 2 months to finally get it. But here it is, Mutant Year Zero. Why did I get this when I already own another post-apocalypse game? And I'm probably never going to run it. Because I'm such a fan of the stuff that Free League has been putting out. I mean, we know that Tales from the Loop is my current favorite role-playing game that I'm not playing. We know that despite some of its editing issues, Mork Borg is just kicking ass, is considered one of the best role-playing games out this year. It's considering one of the most beautiful role-playing games out this year. It's considered one of the most influential role-playing games out this year. So I wanted to take a look at where it all started with the Year Zero system from Free League. Now, there's some hee-hawing whether this was their first game or Coriolis was their first game or if there was a game before this, but this is the one that uses the system, the D6 system that went on to be used in Coriolis, went on to be used in Tales of the Loop, and went on to be used in Aliens, and is apparently going to be used in Twilight 2000. Yes, they have just recently kickstarted a Twilight 2000. They got the rights to it, and they're going to be coming out with a Twilight 2000 version using this system. And apparently, from what I've been reading, the Twilight 2000 history of the World War III that never happened, just like the, Tales from Loops is the 80s that never happened, leads into Mutant Year Zero. Now, as you can tell by the picture, we got a guy with bug eyes. We got some, psychic-looking girl. This is a mutant, thus the name post-apocalypse. Now, we know there's lots of post-apocalypses, but the two big ones that came out of the 70s, early 80s, was the very prevalent Mad Max, Atomic Desert, Atomic Barbarian, Atomic Highway, Damnation Alley future. Bombs have gone off, somehow we survive. There's radiation poisoning, the world is ground to a halt. Nothing works except for combustion engines, cars. So all the seas have dried up. Arable land is scarce. Food is scarce. Resources are scarce. Everybody resorts to sort of a state of barbarianism where cars are king. And for some reason, we glue roofing nails to everything we can, whether it be ourselves or our cars. Whatever. So that's the one atomic future. The other atomic future is sort of the Brave Star, Thunder the Barbarian, heavy metal, gonzo, mutant future. That the radiation, Teenage from Outer Space, Teenager Ninja Turtles. The radiation has caused mutations, and these mutations breed successfully, and so you have people with scorpion hands. So this is a game that embraces that future. So one of the very first questions I had was, since I've already done Atomic Highway, could you do this game as a Atomic Highway post-apocalypse, or is it only the Mutant Year Zero apocalypse, and is it a preset setting, which it is, or can you do other apocalypses with it? Is it as generic apocalypse rules, or is it very geared to this specific apocalypse? And considering how much energy is dedicated to the world of the Ark, the world of this very particular, I don't know if this can be hacked into other apocalypses. So that was the very first thing. So I went right to character creation, right to the mutant section to see. You get one draw from the mutant deck. So you get one mutant mutations. Most of the mutations are they're igneous, they're very flavorful. There's things like Corpse Eater, Rot Eater, Dust Talker, stuff like that. So they're very low key. You're a guy who can subsist on eating dead bodies. And they are on page 71. And it is a D66 table. So it's 11 through 66. What is it? Why D66? I don't know where they get that. But your choices are Acid Spit, Amphibian, Corpse Eater, Extreme Leaf Rexes, Flame Breath, Forearms, Frog Legs, Human Magnet, Human Plant, Insectoid, blah, blah, blah. They're very random. They don't really seem to have any, connection, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of them. There's only, 20 of them. I would either, if I were to use, but I think it reads that you could just do it without him. You could do a Mutant Year Zero. You could do a Psy World. You could do a world where there are no mutants or the mutations are even scarcer. Like, I would change the table to be either more psychic mutations and go for a Psy World type apocalypse, or I just get rid of them altogether and see, could I use this system to run a Mad Max type game. Now, we're already familiar with the system because the Mutant Year Zero engine is pretty much the same as Tales from the Loop. It is the Year Zero system. It is the D6 system. It's the same stats: strength, agility, wits, empathy. There's the same conditions. What this adds, of course, is combat. There's no combat in Tales from the Loop. So the other thing I was interested in was, obviously, how does combat work in this game? Because we're used to Tales from the Loop, which has no combat. So, what are the shooting people rules? And I'm looking for them. I'm not seeing them. I'm seeing a lot. There is a lot of, much like Tales from the Loop, there's a lot of lore. Very little crunchy. It's very much player-driven, idea-driven. It's like, where is my combat section? Here's a whole thing on the Ark, the place where everybody survived to. Let's take a look at some of the art. The art is very simple. It's completely different from Tales from the Loop. It is very simple, very black and white, very direct to the point. Again, a lot of wasted space with art. Like, does this really need to be an entire page when it could just be, a thumbnail? Go to the GM section. We have threats against the art, creating the zone, runes in the art, threats in the zone, artifacts, special zone sectors, and the path to Eden. Where is page 78 is, I guess, our combat section. So 75, 77, conflict and trauma. So this is what I was curious about. How does the system that we're used to for Tales from the Loop, which had no combat, have guns? So when you attack someone at a distance, you roll for a shoot skill. You need a ranged weapon, if only a rock to hurl. The table on page 87 indicates the range of each weapon, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what damage does weapons do? If you shoot, roll succeeds, you hit, and your opponent suffers weapon damage. For an extra roll, choose one stunt. For every extra crit, you get to choose a stunt. So, it's just like the other system. There's multiple dice you can roll, very simple successes, but everything additional success, you get to do a stunt. So, like, one more point of damage, pin down the enemy, drop weapon. So where do we see the damage for our guns? That is what I'm most curious about. Where is weapon damage? All right, so weapon damage. Okay, so here we go. Weapon damage. Throw and walk, 1. Pistol, 2. So yeah, it's set damage. There is damage. And then the damage comes off the stats, I guess, since there's no hit points in this game. So yeah, it'll be interesting to dive deeper into this game, give it a read through, and then talk about it in our second. This is just the initial. Let's take that new book spell. This initial take a look at this game. I haven't even had a chance to read it. What I'm seeing, of course, is very similar layout to Tales from the Loop. Lore, crunchy bits, lore, crunchy bits, lore. Lots and lots of lore. Lots of establishing the atmosphere, which is what these guys do. And because the Year Zero system is so simple and the character creation is so simple. This is the kind of game where you need to justify all these pages with lore. Now, I love Tales from the Loop. I love everything about Tales from the Loop. But yes, it's. I mean, this is expensive. Tales from the Loop was expensive, and why is it so expensive? It's because it's so big. And why is it so big? Because there's a lot of chunk in it. Doesn't need chunk. I mean, Atomic Highway, which is right behind me, is this big and does the exact same job just as well. So we will continue to compare this with Atomic Highway. We'll roll up some characters. We'll deep dive it. We'll talk about why this type of apocalypse, and we'll have a good time. So hopefully you enjoy this. If you want to see more of this content, comment down below. Please take a moment to subscribe, share, support, bloody, and stay safe because the atomic mutants. Look, the ghost is there. You can still see the fuzziness. Ooh, spooky. Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Why you listen to me?